What if I told you the most common argument for God's existence actually makes the case against God even stronger? Today we're tackling a huge problem. If an all-powerful, all-knowing, perfectly good God exists, then why is the world so flawed? And more importantly, why does the common free will defense actually make this problem worse? Let's start with a simple question. If an all-knowing, all-powerful, perfectly good God exists, what kind of world would we expect? A perfect world, right? No suffering, no disasters, no evil. Because why would a perfect being create or even be able to create something imperfect? Here's the argument in a syllogistic form. God is defined as the greatest being that can be conceived. Premise 1. It is greater to create something perfect than something that fails. That's our premise 2. Premise 3 would be, the universe contains failure and imperfection. Premise 4. A perfect being would only create something that runs perfectly. Conclusion, therefore, a perfect being did not create this universe. So far, so good. But wait, do we hear that lone theist, well, maybe not just one, shouting, "Free will explains why the world isn't perfect. God had to allow free will. That's why things go wrong." But in most theist universes, there are things that have free will that do not make wrong choices. God is one of those beings. God has free will. He never makes the wrong choice. Many Christian traditions, they say heaven has free will, but no one ever goes wrong there. And even on this planet, they propose beings that never did anything wrong. Jesus, 100% human. He never failed, so it seems to be logically possible. And there are even some Christian traditions, like the Roman Catholic tradition, where Mary was a sinless human. So it's logically possible to create free beings who never make the wrong choice. If free will means there must be failure, why doesn't God fail? Why do the stories say, or the claims, that people in heaven never go wrong? If free will and never going wrong can exist together, then an all-powerful God could have created beings who never fail. But that is not the world we live in. And here's where the argument gets even worse for the theist. The free will defense isn't just weak, it contradicts God's omnipotence. It's bad theology. If God is omnipotent, then he decides what is possible and what is not. It's not like he's working from some pre-existing state of affairs. He's creating ex nihilo. Saying that free will must allow failure means there is some external rule, some external constraint even God cannot get beyond, cannot break. But an all-powerful God wouldn't be bound by external rules. He's the one who sets the rules. Therefore, arguing that suffering is necessary contradicts the very idea of an omnipotent God. It's saying, for God to be able to achieve goal X, he has to go through the path of suffering. Why? To get there. But that's like saying an omnipotent being has to go through a maze. There is no maze for such a being. If you say that free will means suffering must exist, you're saying that God has no choice but to allow suffering. But that directly contradicts the claim that God is omnipotent. An omnipotent God isn't forced to allow suffering any more than they are allowed to have the existence of pink unicorns. He would decide whether suffering is necessary at all. So where does that leave us? A truly perfect, omnipotent God would create a perfect world. The world isn't perfect. It contains suffering and failure. Free will doesn't require failure. God has free will. Heaven is supposed to be perfect and have free will. Many religious traditions have beings on this planet who never fail. Claiming suffering is necessary contradicts omnipotence. It's bad theology. Therefore, the Omni-God simply doesn't exist. It self-destructs. And free will just makes it worse. So what do you think? Do these arguments hold up? Do you have a response that saves the Omni-God? Leave your thoughts in the comments and I'll be excited to see what you have to say. See you next time.